going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls and New York Knicks game reaction. One of the most craziest games of the season in the entire NBA just took place between the Bulls and the Knicks. And ladies and gentlemen, the Bulls managed to walk away with a big victory away from home in one of the most fascinating places, the best places to play basketball, Maddison Square Garden. All the big players show up for crunch time in Maddison Square Garden, and we definitely saw that today for the Bulls. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the player of the game as well as the performance for the Chicago Bulls. Now, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but we won this game 119 to 115 off of one of the best first half performances for the Chicago Bulls. The New York Knicks, within 6 minutes, brought that game back to 4 points, and in the end, it was a tough and gritty game all the way through from then. Obviously, a very crazy game, ladies and gentlemen. So much stuff happened. So much things got in the way from the Bulls blowing this team away. Well, also, you have to give full credit to the New York Knicks for fighting back the way they did. At the end of the day, many teams would fold in that circumstance, and we've seen it throughout the course of the season that we are a team that can blow leads. We've seen that before. We'll probably see it again. Obviously, this is a game where we won the game. We won the game 119 to 115. So it was a very close game in the end. But it is something that we do need to work on. Now, to look at the positives of this game, the first half, in my opinion, was the best first half I've seen all season, and that was against that quality New York Knicks side. Obviously, the free throws, the fouls that the Bulls were committing kept them in the game. They had a lot more free throws than us. Once again, seems like that's the ongoing theme between the Knicks and the Bulls. They always seem to have the free throw advantage, but nevertheless, for the Chicago Bulls specifically, we ended up having a phenomenal first half. Ball movement was insane. Good steals, good defense, good shots were going in. Everybody was on fire. And once again, when you get Vucevic scoring the way that he does, you get Zach scoring the way that he does, you get DeMar shooting the way that he does, it's very hard to beat this team. And even though we let them come back, even though we were very, very poor in the third quarter specifically, it's just a good sight to see when you watch the Chicago Bulls, and you know, no matter how bad they do play from one quarter to another, they are a really tough team to beat when the best players are showing up for the team, which is great to see, and that's obviously a big positive of the game. Looking at the negatives, I know we won this game, but this was not a game that should have been this close. At the end of the day, the Knicks were rattled in the first half. They were really poor throughout that time. Obviously, the Taj Gibson ejection really deflated the New York Knicks. You could tell in the way that they were playing. You got players like Quickly not making shots, Alec Burks not making shots. Randall was the only one that was really going for them in the first half. He scored pretty much a little bit under half of their points in the first half. So that's something that we need to work on. Obviously, we let the Knicks get momentum in the second half. It started off very, very poorly for the Chicago Bulls. Billy Donovan noticed it just as much as we did, and he called a very early timeout, but that didn't seem to do the trick for the Bulls, and we just let them come back. 6 minutes it took for that 18-point lead in the first half to evaporate to 4. So, very, very quick reply from the New York Knicks. But you can't take away a victory against the Knicks, especially this New York Knicks team in Madison Square Garden. No matter who was playing, no matter who got ejected, no matter what the situation was, they are always going to be a tough team at home. They have the energy, they have the crowd. It felt like a playoff atmosphere, and we walked away with a big victory. That's all we can really say. Again, it's not nice to see that we once again blew a big lead, or we didn't blow it. They technically did take the lead, but there's just something that we're going to have to keep learning, because, again, this game should not have been this close. When you see a team up by 18 points in the first half, you have to sustain it. If you can't keep the lead or you can't extend the lead, you have to try and sustain it. Or at least if it's a minimal, make it as minimal as possible. 4 points they came back to. That's really dangerous, and they took the lead in the end as well. So that's a bit frustrating for me. But nevertheless, let's look at the individual performances, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the starters and the bench for today's game and just how solid and vital they were towards the Chicago Bulls victory today. Starting off with DeMar DeRozan, who played 38 minutes today. He had 34 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Shooting 12 from 19 from the field, which is 63%, ladies and gentlemen. And the fourth quarter man himself. Again, I'm pretty sure he has the most fourth quarter points in the NBA, alongside Zach LaVine. I believe Jason Tatum is up there as well. But 2 Bulls players in the fourth quarter stepping up for our team, and there's a reason why we are a strong fourth quarter team. And Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are a big part of that. Vucevic played a big role in that as well. DeMar was massive. I believe he had 16 points going into the fourth quarter, and he entered with 34. So it speaks volumes to how vital he was to the Chicago Bulls fourth quarter. He helped us secure a big victory. He made some big shots. He got to the foul line. That's all you can really ask for from one of your star players. He carried the team when the team needed to be carried. We lost all energy. We lost all kind of, I guess, willpower to continue fighting. And we also lost our cool in many ways. And we just kept on having really unnecessary turnovers and unnecessary plays being made. And DeMar DeRozan settled the ship, and he just ended up just showing why he's a good leader for the team. At the end of the day, DeMar DeRozan is still an isolation player, and that's something that I'm never going to be too keen on, especially when it's not in the flow of the offense. But when he makes his shots, and we need those shots, that's when he steps up for us. He is Mr. Fourth Quarter for this team, and he's had a big responsibility today, and he sealed a win away from home against a really tough team. You can't ask for much more if you're the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine had 27 points today, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Zach LaVine was also really good today in terms of his scoring. He was searching a little bit more for his shots today than he did in the last game against the Charlotte Hornets. He was becoming more of a playmaker there. Zach LaVine had a few unnecessary turnovers in today's game. Really poor ones as well. That did lead to a couple of foul calls for the New York Knicks. But Zach LaVine shooting 50% from the field, 9 from 18, 3 from 6 from the three-point line. It's a really good efficiency night for Zach LaVine. And again, tough shot selection. These are problems that we'll have when the Bulls lose. We're going to target these things out as the reason why that we lose. Tough shot selection, isolation. But when we win, you also need to call it out as well. Zach LaVine took some incredibly tough shots, and today he made them. But again, they are tough shots. They're shots that you don't always want to see, especially when you know the rhythm's going and you want to see good shot selection. You want to see us run out and transition. Seeing Zach LaVine shoot a fadeaway 3 with 2 people on him, as great as that shot was and as great as the make was, because he made that shot, it's not a good shot in the flow of the offense. So we do need to find that balance. But again, Zach LaVine had a great game, and there's no arguing that again. Lonzo Ball had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists with 3 blocks today, ladies and gentlemen. Lonzo Ball was everywhere defensively as per usual. But in my opinion, Lonzo Ball, this is one of the worst games in terms of scoring for him that I've seen. There was a game where he had 0 points. He's had a couple of games where he shot 1 from 7, 1 from 8 from the three-point line. Today, he had some wide open shots for the Chicago Bulls, and he could not make them. He was only 2 from 10 from the three-point line today, 3 from 14 overall. So he had the shots for him to get himself going, but he just simply could not get himself going, and he was just a player that ended up falling to the wayside a little bit. Also, I do think the foul trouble did affect Lonzo Ball dramatically when it comes to scoring, because I don't think playmaking-wise he was terrible. In fact, he got 6 assists, so how could I say he was terrible? He was great in terms of playmaking. And of course, his defense was phenomenal for the team as per usual. It's just the scoring for Lonzo Ball that really hurt this team, in my opinion. And again, if he only made even half of the shots, if he was instead from 2 from 10, maybe 4 from 10 or 5 from 10, like he usually is, this team would probably blow out the New York Knicks. But it is what it is. He did make a couple of good shots from the three-point line when we needed it the most. That it is what it is. You just got to keep on pushing. Just not his night tonight. Nikola Vucevic had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists with 1 block. Another player that thrived in our fourth quarter. And again, another strong game. 2 in a row now for Nikola Vucevic, where he's dropped some really good points for the Chicago Bulls. Again, getting it done in the paint, getting it done from the three-point line. He was 5 from 9 from the three-point line today. He took a lot of threes, and that's something that, at the end of the day, if he's making them, I'm not going to complain too much about. But again, a lot of his shots were trying to be in the mid-range, in the paint, getting stuff done over there. He got a lot of good offensive rebounds and just easy layups that gets you going. For a center, to be able to just get a nice offensive rebound, a nice tip in, it helps the team so much, and it's such a simple play to do, especially when you do have size advantages over the New York Knicks. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson is the only center there for the New York Knicks in that game after Taj Gibson gets ejected. So Again, no Nerlens Noel and no RJ Barrett. They were weak coming into this, and Taj Gibson kind of let their team down with that ejection. So Vucevic took advantage of some of those situations, and he did a fantastic job today, and a really big fourth quarter performer as well. Again, very well needed. There was times where we thought that the Knicks would run away with it. Obviously, their bench is better than their starters at times. So as soon as their bench comes in, you do begin to worry. But we did a very good job in dealing with that situation, and so did Big Vooch. Javonte Green had 4 points and 5 rebounds. This is not necessarily Javonte Green's fault, but I don't think he had a great game today. At the end of the day, Julius Randle had a monster game against players of Javonte Green, Derrick Jones Jr., even in the end, Nikola Vucevic. Julius Randle was fantastic for them, and you have to give him credit for making some of the shots that he did. He was an unbelievable performer today. I'm glad to see that he doesn't shoot free throws very well, because that really helped our team. But other than that, I thought Javonte Green was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this is the exact reason why people are saying that we do need more size in the team. It's because of players like Julius Randle bullying Javonte Green for most of that game. And yes, he had some great plays. Javonte Green had a really good tip in. I think he got a nice posterizer on Mitchell Robinson as well. He was great in terms of today's game, in terms of the offense, but defensively, it's a mismatch, and they took advantage of it every single time down the stretch. So that's all I can say. Just the wrong place at the wrong time for Javonte Green. Alex Caruso had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Unbelievably solid defense from Alex Caruso today. So much of a fantastic defender today. So much steals, so much defense, and every single bit of it was needed. Obviously, there was a stint in the late game where he got a couple of foul calls against him, but that's what Alex Caruso is going to do. There are times where the refs are not going to be on your side. I think outside of the first quarter, the refs were not on our side today. So he got a couple of foul calls on him, but his defense was clearly needed for the Chicago Bulls. His playmaking was undeniable, and it was clear to see. I don't know his plus minus, and I'm not going to check it because I don't really look at that kind of stats. But if you looked at his plus minus, I'm sure he had a positive plus minus, because his impact was just undeniable for the Chicago Bulls. When he was on, this team was better. Although he wasn't shooting great, 2 from 7 today, took a big drop in terms of efficiency from shooting. Outside of that, I think everywhere else, you can't argue how good he was for the Chicago Bulls. Ayo only had 2 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. Not the best game from Ayo with 16 minutes played. But again, he's someone that's fearless. He's someone that's going to keep on going and keep on pushing and keep on trying to get something to happen for himself and for this team. So, as bad as he was in terms of today, and I think he's going to be my must improve, to be honest. But outside of that, he's someone that I don't have any worries about for the next game, because you know every game is going to be different, and I will be ready for that game. He will become more of a player that will continue to learn, and he's also a fearless character in general. So I'm definitely not worried about him. Derrick Jones Jr. had 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Again, Derrick Jones Jr. is undersized, so it was another player that got taken advantage of by Julius Randle, by Mitchell Robinson. He did some good things. He got some nice blocks in there, a couple of fouls as well. And it was just a good game. All of his shots were dunks, which is good to see, which means we got into the paint and we got some easy shots. But yeah, a really solid night for Derrick Jones Jr., I'd say. I think he could do better. I really want to see him try and get more rebounds just because of his athleticism. But he's undersized. He's playing a position that's not accustomed to him. So these are some of the results that you're going to get. The last player I'm going to talk about is Troy Brown Jr. He played 9 minutes today and had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 steal. I really enjoyed Troy Brown Jr.'s game today. And as I've been saying for a while now, he's been, in terms of garbage time minutes, that's when he's had the most opportunity to play for this team. And he's probably been the best player in the garbage time minutes. So it made perfect sense with Kobe White out of the rotation to bring Troy Brown Jr. in for a couple of minutes here and there, sporadic minutes, and try to see what he can do. And again, I thought he had a really great game today. And I think he's going to play a little bit more minutes until Kobe White returns. And maybe even then, if he continues to play defense the way that he did and continues to score a little bit of points for the Chicago Bulls, he might just get some minutes in total that may desperately be needed. When we need a little bit of an energy guy, he could be the guy that we turn to. The must improve for me is going to be Ayo Dosunmu once again. Again, he played 16 minutes and only had 2 points. So it's just a frustrating, it's a poor night for Ayo. Again, I think Lonzo could be in candidacy for this as well, just because of his shooting. But for me, Ayo, especially off of the bench, we need bench scoring. And Ayo is the next man of mentality next to Kobe White, as well as Troy Brown Jr. And I think we need to see just slightly better from him if we're going to continue to see this bench flourish for the Chicago Bulls. With Kobe White, without Kobe White, we want this bench to be at its best, and I don't think it was at its best today, but I think Ayo is a big responsibility for that, and we'll see him improve in the next one. I have no doubts in my mind. The player of the game is going to be Mr. Fourth Quarter himself, DeMar DeRozan. Again, it's very hard to decipher who's going to get player of the game. I mean, you could give it to Zach, you could give it to Vooch. Vooch had a really strong fourth quarter as well, but DeMar, in my opinion, kind of won this game for us. It was a gritty performance from the Chicago Bulls in total, and DeMar DeRozan just stepped up in a way that only DeMar DeRozan can, in my opinion. There's only a select few players in this league that are considered really clutch and considered to be players that could just shoot over anybody, get any shot at any given time that they want. And DeMar DeRozan is one of those guys. So it's a blessing to have him on this team at times, and this is just another reason why he's having a fantastic season. The Bulls are having a fantastic season. We should be very proud of DeMar DeRozan, and we should be very proud of a win like this for the Chicago Bulls. Again, I would love to see the Bulls not concede a lead the way that they did, but all that matters, especially away from home against some tough teams, you got to pull out the wins. Again, if this was a playoff game, if the Knicks came back by 20 and we won the game, that's all I could really be happy about. So we have to think of it in that terms as well. But the Bulls do have a lot to learn to manage the game properly. We do have to figure things out in terms of that. The Bulls' record is 15-8, a fantastic ride so far for the Chicago Bulls. Again, I don't know if Google is updated, but I believe we sit second in the Eastern Conference right now, shortly behind the Wizards and the Bucks and the Heat. There are some games there, ladies and gentlemen, where again, we have some tough games coming up, but also we're in a very good position right now. We're just got to keep fighting and keep pushing to see what we can do in future games. But our next game is against the Brooklyn Nets, who are first in the Eastern Conference. We have versed Brooklyn once, and we did end up having a good win over them. This is going to be in their home turf, so they're going to have the home crowd advantage. The first one was in the United Center, so that's going to be a very interesting test. The top two teams in the Eastern Conference, as of this point in time, will be going head-to-head in a very good confrontation, and hopefully it's one the Bulls can walk away with a big victory. Again, everybody likes to play in New York, it looks like. Brooklyn is a tough team. The Bulls you always want to go out and beat the toughest of the tough teams, and I think we should go, and I'm very confident. That's all I could say. I'm always going to be confident walking into any game, and I feel confident against the Nets. Obviously, they're a great, tough team, and they will end up having some really good potential to win that game as well. But I feel confident with my team, and I'm rolling in with them. Hopefully, we can win. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully, you enjoyed the video, ladies and gentlemen. It's a heart-in-your-mouth moment, this game. It was a crazy game. It was an exciting game. It was a stressful game. It was a frustrating game. All of it into one. The emotions, I know, will be bursting from a lot of people. But a win is a win. We take the win. We move on to the next one. We're 2-1 against the Knicks. We'll verse them in February, or March, I should say. So let's just go out and let's just enjoy the win. And let's see what we can do against Brooklyn. Take care and peace.